Hi there folks, and welcome to another episode of Michael's Backyard Marina. I decided to make this a separate video because it's going to be, involving some testing, because this isn't really necessarily assembling the boat yet or doing anything funky like that. But what I've got here is an outdrive mount. This goes on the transom. So you mount this piece on the transom here. Flip this back up. This face here would go to the transom. This piece here, the outdrive mounts to. And this is the one that I pulled off the rinker. And I already got grease on me. So what we're going to be doing here is, I got to come up with a new gasket for this guy, right? What do you want to call it? The later generations? Late model stuff? Why do they call it late model? The latest model stuff? Anyway, the stuff that's newer than this, let's call it that. Okay, let's keep it simple on myself. Have a groove around this face. This stuff here is all a little bit bigger, bulkier, and it has a groove that looks like a giant foam style O-ring, maybe, if you will, would fit down in there. And when you bolt this up to your transom, it seals it off. And the kicker is here, guys and gals, is the fact that this is a giant hole in the back of your boat. And I mean, this is a giant hole. This will sink a boat very, very fast. And the job of this whole housing is to transfer power from in the boat to the out of the boat, right, to the prop, and not let it leak. So you've got, several lines of defense here. We've got this gasket that we're going to be talking about today and how I'm going to do that. Then you also got your gimbal boot inside here, and you got your exhaust boot, and you got your shift shaft. There's a little tiny boot that keeps water from coming in through the shift shaft hole. So you got 4 opportunities for things to get in here. And one of them we're going to talk about today. And that is to get this face to seal off again. Now what was on here was some kind of, I don't know what you want to call it. It looked a lot like foam, especially the piece that was up here that was folded in and was never sealing. And then somebody had put silicone in it to seal. And I'm pretty sure that was from the factory. It certainly looked factory, because this is a very low hour unit. This is out of a rinker, a 1970s rinker that in the series you guys have been watching, where I'm getting the 6-cylinder running, taking it out of the boat, going to put it in another boat. Well, this is the unit that's married up to that 6-cylinder. This is what's on the outside of the boat. This other piece over here is what's on the inside of the boat. And the outside is where you need to seal it up. The inside is just 6 ways of fastening it, 2 studs and 4 bolts. This is a threaded hole, or it goes in this way and holds it. This is a stud coming this way with a nut on it, and down here you got a bolt that passes through the whole thing. And around each bolt hole, especially this one down here, it's got a seal, and you got a seal around this hole. This is another hole in the back of the boat. There's actually 6 more holes along with this giant hole in the back of the boat, right? I know a lot of you folks already know this, but I'm going through this because I want to show you. I'm going to do a little experiment here, because I've got 4 different adhesives, if you will. Adhesive slash, what do you want to call it? Adhesive slash sealant materials that I want to try and use here and test on the junk boat and see how well they hold, fasten. I'm not really concerned how well they seal, because if they hold and fasten things together and stay pliable, they will do well in the sealing capacity as well. And I'm not going with some super cheap stuff. I'm going with some stuff that's well known, out there in the market, readily available for everybody. And let's just dive into that right now. I'm going to show you what I'm using and show you what I've created for this and how I created this. Now what I've cut out here, this is some neoprene rubber. This is oil, gas, resistant. Even though this isn't exposed to a lot of oil and gas, it's still back at the back of the boat. Could be exposed, the inside here could be exposed to vapors, oil vapors, gas vapors, and stuff like that, which could have an adverse effect on rubber. So that's why I chose this one. And I've cut out a gasket. Now you can buy a gasket for the back of this boat. It's cost about $80, what I've seen, and I've only seen it on YouTube for some reason. And I've gone to my other engine places or boat supply stuff, not readily available. guess things from the, let's call it early 70s. If you're pulling this off, oh well. But this one has a flat gasket, right? And I've cut this out and I've created my own gasket. I bought a sheet. Could I bought a gasket and saved myself a lot of money not buying all this different adhesives and doing this video? Absolutely. But also, this channel, I consider it a teaching channel to a certain degree, right? So I want to help educate people on what I'm doing to give you options as to what you might try and want to do. But anyway, this was like a, what type of sheet was this? A 12-inch by 20-inch, 24-inch sheet. I got it off of Amazon. And what I did, first thing I did, is I cut me out a piece of cardboard. Roughly with the inside, this is very rough, so I could put it over that outdrive mount there on the transom part of it. I don't know what I'm calling it, the right thing is transom mount. And I put these two holes in it because that's the only two holes that had studs through it. Put it up against that face, cleared this out so it made it up against the face. Then I traced all the way around. So I had a really good pattern for the outside of that. And then my wife had to help me on this one. Then I took another piece of cardboard, held it up to the back of the boat that I inked this out of, and traced a really good line around the inside. And then I also traced these 6 holes. That way I was able to punch these holes, line it up on here, and then have a good solid inside pattern. Because as you can see here, this area of the gasket gets rather thin, and I want to have as much gasket there as possible. I don't want to cheat myself on anything there. So that was what I did to create the pattern. And for punching holes, I had a 1/2-inch hole punch for a gasket maker. You could also use, let's just call it a 44 Magnum pistol shell. Those aren't cheap either, but those actually make nice hole punches. That'd be 457 would be almost, 50 thousandths shy or 43 thousandths shy of being the right size. Actually, on a 44 Magnum, it's a .44 diameter bullet. By the time you have the shell, you get what I'm saying. It's almost a 1/2 inch. It's just over 7/16. That could get you a good hole. There are other calibers that could do the same thing. Anyway, we got our gasket, right? Now let's talk sealants. I sealed up the back of a boat on the green machine that you saw in the earlier videos earlier this summer with this marine grade 3M silicone sealant. This is clear. It says removable, which is that good or bad? I don't know. But it's, cured sealant, mildew resistant, seals fiberglass, gel coat glass, metal, rubber, wood, or in vinyl. Seals and waterproofs, remains flexible, excellent gasket adhesive, right? Gasket adhesive. That falls in line. This stuff is not cheap. This stuff was about $30 a tube. So, and it's a clear. Now, there's the other one that I follow a guy, Danger Marine, I think it is, out of Australia. And he uses, I hear them guys in Australia follow several of them that use Sikaflex. And this is a Sikaflex 291. I bought this in this form and this form in a tube so I can put it in my caulk gun. And I bought me a smaller test tube, say if I was going to be doing another gimbal boot or something like that, a smaller quantity. I'm also going to use whatever I use to seal the back of this boat and determine I want to use. This also will work on your gimbal boot and exhaust boot, believe it or not. So the Sikaflex 291 is what we're going to test here today as well. And this test is going to drop my magic marker. This test is going to take more than just today. I'm going to show you what I'm doing for my test. I'm going to do it, and then 7 days later, I'm going to come back and look at it, because several of these marine adhesives, I was reading through them yesterday, they like it to be at 50% or lower humidity. Hard to get that in Iowa this time of year. And it dries, fully cures in 7 days. So I'm going to give every one of these things I'm doing the full 7 days, so everything I know is cured. So the other one is adhesive sealant 3M's 5200. It's supposed to be very comparable to the 291. Plus, I stopped by my local Napa and I asked the guy, I said, he used to work on boats many, many moons ago when in the 70s when they were new, and he goes, hey, what kind of sealant did you use? He goes, I would recommend the Right Stuff. And this is the Right Stuff, it's called. Made by Permatex. High flexibility and oil resistance, ideal for domestic and older vehicles, sensor safe. This is designed more for like valve cover gaskets and different things like that that are exposed to, you know, a decent amount of heat. Has to remain pliable, also has to hold its seal. He was telling me this worked really good on valve cover, the old tin valve covers where they couldn't get a gasket to hold, and you just put a bead of this around in there and you just let her go. And this stuff this is no kidding here. Where did it say? 1 minute. He said you could actually put this on the valve cover, stick it on there, and do the other valve cover, stick it on there, and then return to service 1 minute. That's not the full cure time. That's when it's able to go back into service and it'll do its thing. So that's pretty cool. And it comes, this one here, you can get this in a tube style like this. I keep dropping my stuff. Why? 12 thumb Michael here. You can get this in that tube form. You can get it in this form. You can get it in this form. There's lots of ways to get the Right Stuff as well. There again, this stuff here, I got it was $31 for that one can here. This Sikaflex in this type of tube is about $15 to $18 depending on where you're buying it. And this marine adhesive, I don't remember the price on it, but there'll be links to all this in the description below. And I know I'm spending a lot of time talking, and some of you like it, and some of you have keyboard that you don't. Well, this is me. This is what you get. So, in order to do a conducting experiment that I think would be a fair and equitable experiment would be, I think people call samples like this, some of them call them coupons. In the heat treating industry, sometimes they put a metal coupon in the heat treat batch so they can do destructive testing to it, not destroy the actual parts, and get a fair representation of what the heat treat process is. And so what I did is, let's call it a coupon. Or as Ron White would call it, a coupon. So as the rest of this video, I'm going to say coupon because it's faster to say, and I want this video to be shorter. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this, clean it up with acetone, both sides, just like I'm going to prepare to put that other piece in the boat. I'm going to wipe it down really good with acetone, and then I'm going to wipe the boat down with acetone. All let's call it 4 surfaces. We got the boat surface, we got both sides of the gasket, and then we got the aluminum. We're going to represent, this is the gasket, this is the outside, this is that aluminum piece there that's painted, and this inside is going to go against the boat, and I'm going to clamp it up there with some clamps. And I've got 5 of them. Why do I have 5? I don't know. I only have 4 things I'm testing. Maybe I'll do something different with one. I don't know. But anyway, I got plenty of rubber pieces. I've got that. I got a Sharpie to write on the back of the boat what each one is as I do it. And then we'll commence the testing, right? Yep. And I'm excited to see what I plan on doing is leaving about this much, maybe an inch of it sticking off the side, inside the hole of the boat. So I can, I want to see squeeze out, I want to see rubber, and I want to be able to take and put a wrench or something on here, maybe with a fish gauge, and pull on it and see how easy this piece tears off. So I can kind of get an apples to apples to apples comparison on what kind of adhesive strength it has versus just sealant strength. Because if it's holding on really strong, it's probably sealing as well really strong, especially when all these on the names, they have adhesive sealants on them. So, and I'm sure there's various degrees. There's all different kinds of chemical makeups here. All right, let's go outside and get down on the ground behind the boat and start gluing these on. I got to get some clamps from the back of the shop here, and we'll put them on, glue it on, and get this test underway. And we'll be back 7 days later after I get all this fastened on doing the test. So as you guys know, these videos don't just happen. Some of them, yeah, these 2-minute videos on TikTok and different things like that, they happen. Hey, how's it going? Look at this guy. Yeah, these videos take longer to create because here I am, I'm doing some preparation, cutting some stuff, had this gasket which took me, let's just call it a total of 45 minutes to make, start to finish, with cutting the cardboard, cutting, transferring, making sure, you know, you didn't have to wade through that time. All right, outside we go. Okay, I'm gonna try to get you guys the best vantage point I can here. First thing I'm gonna do is take this putty knife and just get off the loose stuff on everything that sides I'm gonna be gluing things to, adhering, sealing, whatever you wanna call it. Because that felt awesome. Alrighty, let's take some acetone. We're just gonna wipe this guy down. As you can see, it just pretty much will strip everything off of there, including any wax or any kind of who knows what. And keep in mind, this is all factory finish underneath here. This stuff hasn't seen the light of day until I pulled this off. Just for fun, let's see what the humidity is out. Currently 79 degrees and 68% humidity. I knew the humidity was still going to be high while I was doing this, but you know, I can't control the weather. I can't fit the boat I'm doing this on in my shop. So this is what we're doing. Next step is this thing is poking me hard in the back. That's sharp. All right, try not to get ripped open here. Next step is we're going to clean up all this rubber. There, I just bumped my head again. As you can see, that's taken off quite a bit of stuff off the rubber. So I want the rubber to be as clean as possible. All right, we got our 4 pieces cleaned up there. Now we're going to clean up the aluminum chunks. Make sure they're clean, oil-free. And here again, I'm just going to mimic exactly the type of things that I'm going to be doing to put this on the back of the boat. Not going to any, let's just call it extraordinary measures. Just doing what I'd call normal prep to make this work. Now that we've got the pieces cleaned up, we're going to go ahead. First thing I'm going to do at the top here, I'm going to use this marine grade silicone. Looks like I'm going to need a pair of pliers. Okay, we'll do it last. Let's open up this package of Sikaflex 291. Oh, this is designed, this is kind of a neat cap. It's got a cap on it, right? Then it's got this little spacer you pull off. Then this cap becomes a cutter. Yeah, it does a real nice job. That's kind of neat. Okay, we're gonna just go ahead and put this all over the area. Oh, that come out? Whoa, that stuff's thick. That stuff's really thick. I was watching this stuff on Sikaflex, a couple of videos, and they were talking about how, I think you call it viscous. It is or it isn't. This stuff you could stack up really thick and on a vertical wall like this, and it doesn't have a tendency to do anything but just stay there. Doesn't try to run, it's not too thin or anything. So for that part of the program, I like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and stick this on here. And actually, you know, I'm not putting a crazy amount on here. I'm expecting to be able to do a little squeeze out. And then we'll put more on the outside here, just like I would do on my gasket. Because my goal is to glue it to the aluminum piece first, the gasket on the back of the boat, and then put this, then put it on the outside of the gasket and then apply it to the boat. Here's my game plan. So now we've got a nice layer of it here. There again, I'm not doing anything overkill or anything different than I do on my boat. Now I'm gonna go ahead and pull this cap back off and put the, I could see where this in a caulk gun would have a distinct advantage for me, just for the simple fact that it would, you got the power to squeeze on it. Well, squeezing that tube can be pretty painful. I've got my piece of aluminum here, and we're just gonna, now here's what's kind of neat about this stuff, I would say, is look at that, it's holding itself. It's holding itself really nicely in place. So I'm digging on that. And this Sikaflex is also saying stuff like above and below the waterline, you know, type of verbiage, which is good because this is above and below the waterline at the same time. I'm just giving it light pressure, nothing extraordinary here. And I can see that the gasket's already squirted out. That's not what I want. So let's just reapply, replace, and this is a simulation of what could happen while I'm doing this job. Now the advantage I have on the boat is it will have 4 studs through everything, kind of hold it in place, and it won't try to slide around as much. But my goal here is to, well, that's really slippery once you start putting that on there like that. How can I? I'll put the clamp down here like this so that just the, wow, this is more difficult than I thought it was going to be. I'm being honest with you. Okay, we got light clampage, that should stay. It looks like we got squeeze out all the way around here. Yep, we'll just let that one sit like that. There again, not the prettiest job, but it'll probably give us a representation, because maybe the prettiest job ain't what I'm going to be doing out there on the boat. I'll do my best. And here again, I'm only applying, I don't know what you're going to call it, medium to light pressure. It's enough to hold it, but I'm not trying to just squeeze every ounce of stuff, extra stuff out of it. I'm going to go ahead and wipe off any excess on any of these here, just to, I don't know why. I don't think it's going to skew the experiment much. And there again, this isn't a scientific way of doing this, guys. Wow, the right stuff has really squirted out a lot of rubber down here. I got to reposition that one. Wow, that was terrible. All right, I think we got everything as good as I'm going to get it. Here we got the Sikaflex 291, the 3M 5200, the 3M clear marine graded silicone, and the right stuff. And we'll be back in 7 days. All right, we're back out here about 6 days later for the glue test. And if you want to see what went on here, you're gonna have to go to my second channel, RMD Creations, to see that action. But right here is this has been exposed to sun, rain, and everything else horrible it can be exposed to. I'm gonna see if I can get you clamped up here. Let's go ahead and start with the Sikaflex. I'm just gonna put my crescent wrench on here and see what it takes to peel it off. Nothing scientific at all. But that, wow, that is stuck. I wouldn't have never guessed it would have held on that good. Oh. Now the good news is, look at that. There's rubber still on here and there's rubber here. It actually tore the neoprene in half. That's strong. Let's go with the 3M 5200. It's supposed to be a full 7-day cure. It's only been on there for 6. That's tight too. Oh. Now that didn't hold on to the aluminum at all. And keep in mind, all this aluminum had the same preparation. So Sikaflex is winning so far. 3M clear. I kind of put these on a little too far. I don't know if I'll be able to get on them. I can get any kind of torque on it at all. There again, the right stuff. A decent amount of adhesion on the aluminum. And then 3M clear. Huh, the worst. That's just a silicone. Didn't do anything. So it looks like, in my opinion, Sikaflex for the win. But And then in order to get this off of a boat, you're gonna have to take a oscillating saw and cut that rubber all out of there. But that's why I'm using the neoprene. But now I know I've got a good adhesion and sealant between the boat and the neoprene and the aluminum. I think Sikaflex for the win. Now we can put some stuff back on Big Blue. Now some of you might ask, Michael, why'd you go through all that trouble? Well, because I want the best repair possible. And when I go to put the sealant back around here, because you can see some of these areas on here on the boat where it makes contact, there's not a lot of room here. There's not a lot of extra. And here's the one that came off of this one. This is 2 for 2 on seeing stuff like this. Look where this gasket ended up. It isn't even sealing up around here. And this gasket's designed to go all the way around. So that's why I don't want to use what they use, the original stuff, and I don't want to use a cork gasket, but using my neoprene gasket that I've created and that Sikaflex, it ain't going nowhere. Once that other outdrive is stuck in there, you're gonna definitely have to go in there with a oscillating blade and actually, or some kind of hot something or another, and cut that neoprene back out. But the neoprene is gonna last a long time. The rest of the life of the boat, myself, most likely. And from what I've seen on that Sikaflex, it's gonna last a long time too. Now, I've heard a lot about the Sikaflex from a few other channels. One of my favorite channels to watch is Dinger Marine down in Australia. And now I see why they use it. Wow. I am impressed. All right, we got to get on with our day. We got a lot to do today. I'll be leaving later today to actually early tomorrow morning. I think I found another boat. So that'll be a whole nother video. So stay tuned for that. I was worried when it said free, but I kind of think I know the situation of the whole boat thing. The guy's got it in a dry dock area that I think he's moved, and since it's like almost like storage wars, basically he's moved and can't have it anymore there, and it's not coming back for it, and don't feel it's worth the effort possibly, but it does have a Cruiser inline 6 on it, and you guys are knowing how much I'm loving those things. So let's go ahead and look at this one more time here. So we did the right stuff. We did the Sikaflex 291, which I have 2 more tubes of it because I had high confidence I'd probably be using that. And I had the marine adhesive 5200. But I tell you what I am going to do on those exhaust boots and stuff now. I have a feeling I might be using this stuff because just the way it adheres to things, even if the clamp can't do the clampy things, I think that's what I'll use. All right. Guys, don't be afraid to leave your own comments down below. Let me know your thoughts about what you would use. And like I said, on this other one, this is the one that's going to go back on that Big Blue boat. And that gasket that was on it went here, and it went down inside here. It wasn't even sealing around there. That's just dirt from the back of the boat. There's no gasket stuff there. But the gasket did tear here and tear here. That old, I think it was some kind of foam. I'm gonna have to finish scraping and cleaning this off, obviously. How I'm going to apply it is I'll clean the back of the boat like I did with this with acetone. But once this is cleaned up and put back together the way I want it with new boots and everything, I'm going to put the Sikaflex on here, put the gasket on there, put the Sikaflex on the back side of the gasket, and then slip this into the back of the boat and get these 2 studs here tightened, these 2 bolts here tightened up, and these 2 down here, and these 2 bolts that go in here. I'll get all those tightened up, and it looks like I can just bring them up good and snug, and the Sikaflex will do the rest. And then once it cures for 4 or 5 days, I'll get in there and snug everything back up because I want to have that installed and in place and snug it up a little more before I actually put, well, you guys seen it before we put this beauty back in. This is the old mid-70s 165 Cruiser, runs like a top. I'm excited to get that back in that boat. All right, folks, thanks for joining me on this little journey on, and you know, this isn't 100% boat related, but it is 100% boat related because of my application. So Get out there, do something fun, enjoy life. This is Michael saying, if it ain't broke, fix it till it is, and we'll see you on the next video. And don't forget to go check out my other channel. It was a 3D printing channel. Now it's going to be everything else that's maybe not boat related channel, because you guys have spoken. I've listened. There's so many people that don't want to see, you know, they want to get excited when they see stuff pop up on the RMD Creations channel, and it's like, oh cool, more boat stuff, and then I'm working on my car. And I get that. I watch certain channels for certain things, but also a lot of times I watch it for the guy there or the gal that's doing the channel. So if you still want to watch me for me and see more of me, I'm going to be putting stuff out on the RM3D Creations, and I'll leave a thing down here. Jump over to that channel. I've already going to have 2 videos, or maybe by this time this video comes out, 3 videos out involving just things I do around here. And it's just let's just call it Michael in the backyard. And we did some neat stuff the other day, putting a boat on a trailer. We also have what did I do? Oh, I'm hauling off some scrap. Let's see how much scrap steel I've got. I'm gonna experience taking you guys to the dump and dumping a boat off at the dump and what that cost. And there's just other stuff that I'm gonna do. Doing some projects for my wife, working on my Jeep, you know, just things. So I appreciate you watching. Jump over there. Go ahead and subscribe, share it with your friends. Tell me what you think of the other channel. And we're just going to grow that channel up, because I just got so many things I do around here that may not be boat stuff, but it's like, okay, I'm going to have my wife, and here's what that's the other thing you're going to see, is my wife's going to be following me around with a camera and catching me doing some of this stuff, and give you a different perspective of somebody following me around with a camera, you know, more or less having a camera person, as opposed to just sitting here on a tripod or clamping you to stuff. So, all right, said enough. I'm out. Enjoy the drone footage at the end of every one of these RMD Creations videos. This is Michael. I'm out.